This is a prelude to episode 706 of Into Your Head podcast. Hello. Episode 706 of Into Your Head podcast. Hello. It's of mixed quality. To be honest, it's of mixed quality, but that's not a bad thing. You're allowed to have people of mixed race. You're allowed to have, pasta that's got different types of pasta in it. It has green stuff and yellow stuff and brown stuff. That's considered very good. You're allowed to have, you're even allowed to have mixed grass seeds on your lawn. There's nothing wrong with anything being of mixed quality. I'm not saying any of the aforementioned things are of mixed quality, incidentally. They're just of mixed type. But no, this show may be of mixed quality. For example, this segment here may be of quality level C, and the one after it may be of quality level B. Now that's not going to affect you at all if you don't have access to the scale that I'm using. You don't know, does it go from A through E or A through Z, and is A highest or lowest, or how does it work? So I'm going to avoid telling you my scale, and then you won't have to worry about it. Leave the production to me, for Christ's sake. That's what you pay me for. Those of you who use the tip jar and the Amazon links, that's what you're paying me for. Leave all that crap to me, and don't you worry about the quality. You just worry about the quality of yourself. Worry about the quality of your own contribution to the world as you go about this day. Ask yourself, what have you achieved today? What would the world be like if you left it today forever? Would it be better than it was when you first arrived? And if yes, how much of that was your doing, or how much of it was just coincidence that the world improved while you were here? Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it means you got the benefit of those improvements. So you should ask yourself what part you played in them. You're still alive, so there's still time to make up for lost time. So don't be worrying about me making up for lost time on my show today. You can't worry about your own life, and let's all worry about our own lives and our own responsibilities. So you worry about your stuff, and I'll worry about my stuff. And if our stuff and your stuff ever cross paths and affect each other, say for example you're working on something that somehow depends on the quality of my podcast, and I'm working on something that somehow depends on the quality of whatever the hell it is you do, then we can have a meeting and work together on that and make sure we have all our T's crossed and our I's dotted and everything in order. That's what meeting rooms are for. But until then, no, just mind your own you mind your own fucking business, and y'all mind your own fucking business, and we'll try not to swear so much as well. There's no reason to be swearing. There's perfectly reasonable stuff I'm saying here. I shouldn't have to add in swear words to make it sound more, whatever I'm trying to make it sound more vulgar. Why would I want to make it sound more vulgar? There's a conversation I'll have to have with myself in due course. Why do you want to make this vulgar? Maybe you don't. Maybe you're self-sabotaging. Could that be it? Am I self-sabotaging my own good points by putting in a stream of F words? There's a question for me. Well, as I say, I'll have that conversation with myself. Don't you worry your pretty little heads about it. Anyway. I've always been a great believer in the dictum quod ette oracabordia, which, as you're no doubt fully aware, means never hang a blackboard from a sideways mattress behind your main desk, because for one thing you're not going to be able to see anything that you write on it over there, and for another thing, let's be honest, you're never going to use the fucking thing. You just had a spur of office organisation desire one day and you went and put that up, and it hasn't been used since. The chalks are down on the floor somewhere, could be anywhere, probably being played with by the cats, so at least they serve some purpose. But no, admittedly it was a good idea of use a cheap trouser hanger to hold up the blackboard and attach it to the sideways mattress. But apart from that, no, complete waste of time and money. At least you didn't spend too much of it. Where'd you get it? You got it in deals. If I remember rightly, everything there was €1.49. It's like a €2 shop, except with different prices. There used to be, in my day, there used to be £1 shops, and then the euro came in and they became €2 shops, and everything had to be repackaged accordingly. But we're over that now. We've had many years to adapt now. We've all adopted to a new currency. A new shining new era has arrived here in Europe, and we're all ready to get on with it and make the best of it. We're going to, as what's his face, Paul McCartney used to say on his album cover, greatest hits title, he used to say, shining like a national guitar. Now that doesn't make any sense, because Europe isn't a nation. It may come as a surprise to you foreigners, but Europe is not a nation. It's merely a continent. We're not even on the continent. We're on an island off the continent. We might as well be part of America if we're going to be part of anywhere, although the logistics involved in that would be difficult. You'd have another frigging time zone to deal with. It's frigging 5 hours ahead of your east coast, and that wouldn't be your east coast anymore. Our east coast would become your east coast. You'd have to call your existing American east coast I don't know, the leftown seaboard of the Atlantic Lake. Would you have to call the Atlantic a lake then, because it's inside a country? I don't know. I suppose it would have to be surrounded by land for it to be a lake, but no doubt someone's working on that, building. You just build a bridge along the top and a bridge along the bottom, and fill in under the bridge with clay and soil and crap. It doesn't necessarily have to be crap. It could be something good. You could fill it in theory with gold, but people are going to come along and take that away, and then the bridges will lose their structural integrity because of gold looters. So that's why they don't put gold in the bases of bridges to hold them up. I'm no architect, but I am a realist, and I know how humans would behave if that were the case. So that's one thing you can't learn in architect school. Although maybe you can. Maybe they have little civics classes for extra points. They'll say for extra credit, you can attend this extra class every Friday where we teach you a bit of common sense, but it's not compulsory. You just get extra credit for it. You can still become an architect and not go to that. Anyway, hello and welcome to the show. Two dogs walk into a podcast production facility. One of the dogs goes straight up to the podcast production executive and says, hello, how are you? And the production executive says, excuse me, I'm on air here. I'm live on air doing my podcast. And the dog says, that doesn't make any sense. It's a podcast. It's not live. And podcast executive says, well, it's not now because you've interrupted it. I've stopped it. I've pressed my big red emergency button and put everything on hold to talk to a dog. Are you happy now? And the dog says, oh, I'm always happy. The best way to tell is by just looking at my tail and seeing if it's wagging. I'm pretty sure, I can't see it from here, but I'm pretty sure if you were to look at my tail now, you'd find that it's wagging like mad. Well, within the constraints of this tiny room in which you set up your production facility here. And the podcast production executive says, that's great, well done. Now, what can you contribute to this show? And the dog says, I think I've just contributed 1 minute and 8 seconds to it, just by being here. It's your job to make it into a story, just like any journalist. The story provides itself, and then you turn the story into something. The basis of that, I said that wrong. The basis of the story, the facts provide themselves, and the occurrences and events provide themselves. It's your job to turn them into the story, and hopefully not a fictional one if you're a journalist. But if you're a novelist or a producer of fiction, then that's fine. You can turn it into a fictional story. Turn it into a story that doesn't exist, and then you'll get stuck in some sort of or vicious circle. He'll go up to some publisher and he'll say, I've written a great fictional story. And they'll say, does that mean it doesn't exist because it's fictional? And you'll say yes. And they'll say, well, come back when you have something more solid then that I can read, preferably in manuscript form, but I'll take an email. And then you'll have to go back and freaking figure all that. I write a book about that. I write a book about the whole process of producing fiction and the irony of it, and how small it makes you feel. And the production, whatever the hell he is, podcast producer says, you're kind of not really making me feel good about myself here. And the dog says, what am I? You're a freaking motivation counselor here. This isn't a gym. I'm not here to egg you on. I'm just a passing dog who came in here to have a sniff around. Sorry if I interrupted you, but that's the way life is. Animals are not, don't have to go and live by your frigging rules. If you're doing something in here, that's none of our business. We don't come around and say, oh, I'll change my schedule because that human is doing something human-y here. I'll just avoid this whole region of town for the next hour or two. That's fucking ridiculous. Fucking ridiculous. And the production podcast, whatever the hell he's calling himself, says, you swearing? And the dog says, damn right I'm swearing. I can swear. I can fucking swear my head off if I like. I'm a dog. And the man says, I thought that was only the more aggressive dogs that did that. Maybe the Staffordshire Bull Terriers or Pit Bulls or one of them. And the dog says, oh, that's a myth. That's a myth, and it's about as substantial a myth as a moth is an insect. And the man says, that's fine. The dog says, oh, I get it. You don't realise how insubstantial a moth is. Well, if you ever catch one and try to eat it for a bit of a protein burst, which is the only reason to eat insects, for a protein bomb, then you realise how insubstantial they are, because you'll just get a craving for chicken, and then you realise I've got fuck all protein out of that. That's when you'll realise it. And the podcast production executive, who by now is feeling a bit silly because he knows damn well he's not a podcast production executive, but that's the title he chose at the beginning of the story, and can't keep just changing the details in midway through because it'll confuse the listener. Anyway, the podcast production executive, who incidentally isn't me, he's fictional. I wouldn't have a dog in here. I haven't had a dog in several years. I don't think I'll get one soon again. But no, incidentally, when I get a dog, it'll be named after one of my favourite old cats, Pippi the cat. So it'll be named Pippi Descartes the cat. No, Pippi Descartes the dog, but pronounced Pippi the cat the dog. And the dog says, that's fine. I'll let you know. I'll have a word with the dog world and let you know if we have our approval for that. Not that you need it, because you're a free human being. You're free to do whatever you, as Oasis says, whatever you want, and it's all right and all right. I'm free to be whatever something, and I'm a dog, and I can nearly sing an Oasis song. And the podcast fella says, isn't that's great. Well, thanks for the filler. And the dog says, oh, you're welcome. I got the feeling you weren't doing a very good show today, so I thought if we did a few minutes here and stuck it in the early part, it might help. A bit like thickening up a bad stew, as it's never too late to adjust a stew until it gets to serving time. Anyway, I'd like to correct myself. The fella whose greatest hits was called Shining Like a National Guitar was not Paul McCartney. It was the other fella. Paul Simon. I should have known. I'd have had no problem with this if I had given the full title of the album, which I believe is Shining Like a National Guitar, the very best of Paul Simon. Although I'd probably have said that and then say by Paul McCartney, in which case I'd have sounded even stupider. But how many greatest hits collections of 1960s and 70s musicians do you know the full title of the albums of? Tell me that and tell me me no more. Tell me. Well, don't you fucking tell me at all. It's a rhetorical question. You can ask of yourself in your mind and give yourself the answer in your mind. We don't need to go wasting sound waves and vocal cords on it. Don't wear out your vocal cords answering questions that are only meant for you to hear the answer to, no one else. And no, sometimes a question is just for you. And if I ask you, for example, I could ask yourself, oh, that's a song, isn't it? You may ask yourself something shotgun shack, and you may ask yourself something, so wasn't there Kermit the Frog involved in the version of that? As the days go by down at the waterfront, something, same as it ever was, same as it ever was, same as it ever was, same as it ever was. I listened to a few seconds of that the other day. I was rearranging some music on my iPodular telephone in case I ever get on the treadmill again. I don't listen to music normally anymore. Music is a thing of the past, except that, of course, on the previous episode, music was a major theme. If you see from the title of show 705, if you ever get round to this, you should really listening to these episodes in the order in which they're released, not backwards. You're not Professor Stephen Hawking with his backwards through time theory, and even if you are, then you're just a theory. You're a theory and nothing more. In fact, that's the case for all of the listeners. All of the listeners who listen to this only exist in theory. I've met maybe 2 or 3 of you who claim to be listeners, but the rest, I suppose I can be pretty sure they exist. But no, the rest of you, you only exist in the little statistics that I get on a Sunday morning in an email or any other time that I choose to log in and look it up, which isn't very often. There's more to life than obsessing over how many of you people there are. I know for a fact there's at least 3, and that at least 3 of you have corporeal beings and that you exist on this earth in the same dimension. In fact, I've sat down and had meals with a couple of you in my own country, on my own home territory. Had a listener came over and sat down in front of me, in fact in front of several tables. That's how people interact in this world. They sit down and break bread together, except if it's at a buffet. If it's at a buffet, one of them sits down and mines all your gold and other valuables, while the other one gets up and explores the buffet and then comes back and goes, what the fuck is this? Is this what you people eat for breakfast? Indeed it is. We eat sausages and rashers and 8 slices of toast and sometimes beans and mushrooms. Well, you foreigners, I know you foreigners in America, all you eat is, you eat everything. We eat everything too. We just eat a different everything to you. It's like there's 2, we're like in a parallel universe. We can both of our countries can eat everything if there's 2 everythings. The America can eat everything and Ireland can eat everything, and there can still be no problem with that because there's 2 everythings, 2 parallel universes occupying the same space. You just don't want to think about that too much before you've had your coffee in the morning. And if you're still browsing the buffet bar, I can tell you can be damn sure to Christ as hell you haven't had enough coffee yet. You may have had a sip of it while you contemplated getting up, but no. I can tell you the thing about those fucking buffet places, they may give you all the food in the world, but you won't be drinking your coffee out of a big 2-litre Coke bottle like I am now. Except that's Coke. That's decaffeinated Coke. That won't get you very far in the morning, I can tell you, for a coffee buzz. Luckily, I've had half a bottle of energy drink. Finished off the one that has started yesterday and started a new one. They're both new, technically. Bought them both at the same time off the same shelf in the same supermarket. I suppose if I were to look at them, I might find that one has a further away sell-by date than the other one. It doesn't really matter now. Bite back with cake. KX, fire up and focus your body and mind with stimulating caffeine and B vitamins. Keeps you firing on all cylinders, and it's designed in the shape of a cylinder. It's a cylindrical bottle done in grey. That's a new thing now in supermarkets. They have some cheap energy drink in a big grey bottle. They all have their own version. Grey bottles are the way to go now. A grey bottle looks like a bullet, so we think, a bullet is quite full of energy. energy, isn't it? Just releases a lot of energy when you fire it into someone's face, admittedly. But that's kind of what I'm doing here. I'm releasing this energy indirectly into you, the listener's face.
IntoYourHead.com. Support the podcastual arts at no cost to you. Just click through the Amazon link at IntoYourHead.com whenever you go shopping for anything, even if you use Amazon UK or Canada. We'll take your weird foreign money here. We're not proud. Just visit IntoYourHead.com and click on the appropriate Amazon banner.
If you would like to comment on any of the issues raised in this program, email studio@IntoYourHead.com. Remember, we value the opinions of you, the humble and ignorant listener.
Matchstick cats. Matchstick cats. Matchstick cats. Matchstick cats and stuff.
Are you a cat? Or do you know somebody who might be? Then tell yourself about Matchstick Cats, Neal's webcomic. Brand new episodes at IntoYourHead.com.
Matchstick cats and stuff. IntoYourHead.com.
Now, I know what you're thinking there. You're thinking Christ. You're thinking Jesus, holy fucking Christ. Or else you're thinking, whoever your equivalent of Christ is, I suppose. You're thinking Santa. Santa, holy fucking Santa. Or maybe not holy, more Christmassy. Maybe you could say Santa, Christmassy, festive Claus or something. Or that's the equivalent. I presume that's the Santa Claus equivalent of Jesus, holy fucking Christ. Sounds a lot more innocent, doesn't it? Possibly because Santa is fictional. But he's not. Well, I don't know if he's who am I to say? Who am I to say what's fictional and what's not more than anyone else? Incidentally, this podcast is flagged very clearly not suitable for children. So if your children are listening to this, or if you're a child yourself who has children, in which case your parents have a lot more explaining to do, then you've should be changing nappies, not listening to this crap. I suppose you can listen to stuff while you're doing stuff. You can that's the whole point of audio, is that you can multitask. But no, if you're a child, multitasking or not, in fact, if you're a child, if you are listening to this, which you shouldn't be, you should at least multitask while you're doing it, so at least less of this crap will soak into you. Although there are people who make those language tapes, aren't there? Dictaphone, what's it called? Dictalearn or something, where they used to be, you'd learn French while you were asleep. You'd put in your headphones and you'd play a cassette tape that had educational language stuff on it, and the idea was you'd soak up a new language while you were sleeping. And that's what worries me, because if you're one of these kids who shouldn't be listening to this, but you're multitasking while you're doing it, now I've just come to realise that you're probably soaking in even more of this inappropriate material because it's going in subconsciously. Well, get this subconsciously. Stop listening immediately, and have your parents arrested for not supervising your internet usage more properly. You can, if you're a parent and you don't want your children listening to this crap, you realise you can adjust the settings on your child's telephone, which they have for some reason. You can make it so they can't listen to stuff that's marked as flagged as mature. It's very easy. We make it easy for you. What you want me to do? Send you around a frigging bit of masking tape to put around their ears or something? I don't know how we can help you anymore. If you're a child listening to this inappropriately, go away. If you're an adult listening to this with a view to finding out what the hell your child is being listening to, then you go away too. Everyone go away except those of you who should be listening to this. Starting to sound like Hitler now, saying dictating who and can't listen to my podcast. This is a world where not everything is for everyone, despite how we may think harvest for the world. Oh yeah, that's that song. That's another song that's been going through my head lately. When will there be a harvest for the... It's got harmonica and all in it, for the world. When will there be a harvest for the world? hopefully soon, but there won't be an Into Your Head podcast for the world, because it's a frigging minority interest thing. It's not for everyone. It's not to everyone's taste, and that's the way it's going to stay. And if you don't like it, go take a shit for yourself, for someone else. Can you take a shit for someone else? Maybe you can. How would you take a shit for oh, there's Annie the cat coming along the cat super interstate highway wall. Just disappeared down behind it now, into the wrong house. Annie, you're going to the wrong house. Or maybe it's the right house. Maybe I'm in the wrong house. Has that occurred to her? It probably hasn't. It's occurred to me though. Am I in the wrong house? Because if I am, someone else seems to have a very similar office setup to mine, equally untidy. I've been using these fucking ear sticks here though, these ear cleansing buds here. Does that mean someone else has been using it, or are we just getting silly now? I don't know. I fucking do know it. The previous minutes being a pile of bullshit. But you're allowed to bullshit sometimes. You're allowed to let your mind wander into the land of bullshit. That's what you do when you're falling asleep. You let your mind wander and you think about everything you think when you're asleep is bullshit. You think about being able to fly. That's bullshit. You think about winning the lottery. That's bullshit. You think about being hunted down by some saber-toothed cat who's trying to kill you and your family. That's bullshit. Although it seems real while it's happening in your dream. But you wake up alive and well. So it's either an ineffective saber-toothed cat or it's all made up. Maybe you should write it all down. Write down all your dreams and have them, I don't know, submit it to someone. Nobody wants to hear anyone else's dreams for some reason. If you go on Twitter and you say, oh, I had a great dream last night, straight away you'll have someone say, the most boring thing on earth is listening to someone else's dreams. Tell me something real instead. Fine, I'll tell you something real instead. After I had my most exciting dream of all time, I woke up and then I brushed my teeth and had a piss and washed my hands and dried my hands and ate an egg. Is that interesting enough for you? I didn't think so, no. So get over this being bored by people's dreams things. Dreams are, for many of you, the most exciting thing to happen in your day ever. Anyway, two cats walk into a bar. One of the cats goes straight up to the bar counter and says, hello, can I have a pint of your finest Murphy's, please? And the man behind the bar says, are you sure? And the cat says, yes, quite sure. Why? And the man says, because we really should be only referring to brands that are well known internationally. And I know Murphy's is slightly different from Guinness. It's a matter of taste for you. But if you were to say Guinness, then you foreigners just straight away and go, hey, I know what they're talking about. I'm not alienated here. Because people are worried enough as it is when they pick out a foreign podcast. They think, I'm probably not going to understand any of this. I'll try it out for 5 seconds. And the first time they hear something like Murphy's, they're going to say to themselves, oh, I can't listen to that. This is of no relevance to me. I've never heard of a Murphy's. Is it some sort of a person? Because they're all called Murphy over there, aren't they? And the cat says, fair enough, I'll have a pint of your finest Guinness, please. And the barman said, oh no, have Murphy's if you like. Don't let me talk you out of it. If you want to have Murphy's, you enjoy your Murphy's. All I'm saying is that it's a bad idea. But no, go ahead and order Murphy's if you like. And the cat says, thank you very much. Pint of your finest Murphy's, please. And the man behind the bar says, or you could have Beamish, I suppose. If you're going to go the Murphy's way, you might as well go the whole hog and have Beamish. It's cheaper. I remember as a child going away with my friends for the weekend to Cork and surreptitiously drinking, and you'd always go for the Beamish because it was much cheaper. You get a pint of it for about £1.20 when everything else was £2. You could drink to your way to your heart's content until your €6 ran out, and then you had to go back to the bread and breakfast. It was absolutely fucking fantastic. Would you like Beamish? And the cat says, oh, okay, I'll have some Beamish, please. And the man behind the bar says, oh, I'm sorry, we don't serve Beamish. That's a bit 1990s. We just do you the Murphy's and the Guinness. Would you like a pint of Murphy's? And the cat says, yes, I'd love a pint of Murphy's, thank you very much. And the man behind the bar says, fair enough, so Murphy's it is. Hopefully is anyway, unless someone's swapped the tops around without telling me. Ho ho ho, that's a little joke for you. And the cat says, I'm sorry, I don't get humour. And the barman says, would you like me to explain it to you? And the cat says, yes please. And the barman says, well, humour, it's an emotional reaction, and not unenjoyable emotional reaction to something that would be considered funny. And something that's considered funny would be something that would trigger a humorous reaction, a laugh, for example, or a feeling of well-being, temporary feeling of well-being. And the cat says, I can get that from alcohol. And the man behind the bar says, dead right. Ho, 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 you did a little joke there. I don't know if you realise, because you don't understand the concept of humour, but you did a little joke there. And the cat says, oh, that's great. Maybe I'll work on that and become the first ever stand-up cat comedian. And the man behind the bar says, well, now you were claiming you didn't understand what humour was, but you seem to know what a stand-up comedian is. Are you pulling my elbow here? And the cat says, no, I'm just scraping my scraped you accidentally while I was washing my paw, sorry about that. And the man behind the bar says, well, here's your Guinness, go and drink it down in the corner there with your friend. You never ask for anything for your friend, incidentally. There's always two of you cats come in here, but you always come up and just ask for one drink. And the cat says, well, we share it. We're fucking cats. You can only drink so much. You can drink a thimble or two each. Maybe another thimble or two each if we wait another 15 minutes after that. We're not going to get through a whole pint of this crap. And the man behind the bar says, fair enough. Well, enjoy yourselves anyway. And the cat says, why? And the barman says, because this is a place of enjoyment. It's a public house stroke bar. It's where people come to enjoy themselves. You don't want cats there sitting miserably, spreading misery to everyone else and ruining everyone's night. And the cat says, Christ, you don't expect a lot of us, do you? And the man behind the bar says, no, I don't believe I do. What, are you in here for some serious meeting or something? Because this mightn't be the place for that. Maybe you should go to a hotel and rent a conference room if you're going to do that. And the cat says, you do realise I'm a cat, don't you? And the man behind the bar says, I do indeed. I'd know a cat anywhere. I'd know a cat if I was out in space and hadn't seen another being or animal for several thousand years. If a cat approached me, I'd recognise it as soon as it was within about 10 feet of me. I'd recognise it as a cat. Pretty hard to mistake those things. And the cat says, well, that's good. You're off to a good start then. Well, anyway, thank you very much. And the barman says, you're welcome. And a great night is had by all.
You're listening to
the Into Your Head podcast
from Ireland with your humble proprietor, Neal.
Follow Neal at twitter.com/intoyourheadpod and pretend to like him at facebook.com/intoyourheadpodcast.
Monkey nuts, that's what they call them. They call them big, steaming, shit-eating, piss-piling, sun splitting through the rocks, except it's not a rock, it's a dark cloud, and the sun's more hiding behind it. Well, it's not hiding, it's trying to get through. It's not trying to do anything, really. The sun doesn't give a shit where it shines on Earth. That's just a matter of where the Earth is and whether there's clouds there. If the sun happens to get a few rays through here, it doesn't even notice. It's like if I'm walking through a jungle and I accidentally brush against a few leaves and they move a bit. I don't even notice that. The sun thinks of us as a jungle. If it thinks it thinks of us as a jungle full of leaves and happens stretching itself out, putting out a few rays in every single direction. And if a few of them manage to shine on half of Earth every 12 hours or so, then it doesn't even barely know no, it doesn't even, at least because it doesn't have eyes. We like to teach our children that the sun has eyes and a face that you can draw in pictures. Oh, they put it on the Teletubbies. They used to put it on the Vitalite dairy spread ad in the 1980s. They had a son wearing sunglasses. Absolutely fucking ridiculous. They had a son wearing sunglasses and singing something, something, something. What am I going to have for breakfast? I want something to spread on my toast. Oh, Vitalite. That was an advertisement on the television. I don't think I've ever had Vitalite in my life. I've no idea whether it's still around. But no, that's how they used to advertise it when I was a child. I wasn't in charge of the grocery shopping for the household in those days. I had parents who used to do it on my behalf. I was busy going to school. Well, not that busy. I'd go to school. I'd be at school from about 9 o'clock in the morning till about, I don't know, 2:50 or 3:15, depending what school I was in at the time. And then I'd come home and I'd watch television and cram my face with whoever was available. I'd cram dinner down my face like there's no tomorrow. And then someone would say, do you know there's going to be a tomorrow and you're going to have to go to school again? And I'd say, no, tomorrow's Saturday. Tomorrow's the day when I eat 8 slices of toast in front of the television, possibly with marmalade on them. No coffee, because I haven't been introduced to coffee yet. Possibly tea. Anyway, stuff toast down my throat while watching Saturday morning television. And then someone would say, get up off your arse and go out and do. You're a child. You should be out and about. My father would say, go out. Where? And then I'd go out. And then one day I disappeared out for 6 hours and I came back. And he'd say, where the freaking hell were you? And I'd say, out. And he'd say, Christ, I don't know what to do with you children anymore. I tell you what to do and then you go and do. There's no happy medium. I tell you to go out and you go out. And then I tell you to stay in and you stay in. If I tell you to go out, go halfway out. Go out in the garden or something, or out nearby where I can see you out the window, where I'm ironically inside. Well, that's okay for me because I'm an adult. Well, unfortunately, I'm an adult now. I can stay inside all day, all weekend if I want. I can stay in here doing this. I can say, fuck you, outside world. You have nothing to offer me that I can't get in here. I've got high-speed internet. I've got television. I've got everything. It's all here. Of course, there was no internet in those days. That's partly why it was encouraged me to go out. You had a choice of 4 television channels. Half of them were full of foreigners. We had foreign television being pumped in at us through a big aerial on the roof. A big fucking load of foreigners coming in trying to educate people from the BBC, trying to educate our children, trying to pump their foreign, what do you call it, stuff. They do it now with the BBC World Service. They pump it into all these foreign countries through shortwave. They say, oh, here's some information and education for you. We're going to fire at you with whole cylinders. Try and escape that now. And then people, of course, they protest. They say, those people are trying to educate and inform us from afar. Leave us alone. And the BBC will say, fair enough, we'll have some cutbacks and we'll do it gradually, less and 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 Dormays. Is that a song? Yes, it is. Less and Dormays. Was not the 3 tenors, Pavarotti and the other fella. They did a thing called Nessun Dormays or something like that. It's not fantastic. It's not fantastic how a thought can go from bicycling round outside my house of a Saturday morning to the 3 tenors, at least one of whom is dead. What's his face? Pavarotti, he's as dead as a doornail now. A doornail that was alive at one point, admittedly. You couldn't say, it's a bad comparison really. They say dead as a doornail, but a doornail was never alive. It was never, unless it was metal. I suppose if it was metal, it may be from was that how it works? Or is that a different stuff? Can metal come from a decomposed dinosaur? So I suppose in a way, a doornail could be a reincarnated dinosaur, just not very well reincarnated. If I was looking to be reincarnated, I can tell you, and if I had a choice, which I probably didn't, I probably wouldn't have chosen to be a doornail. It's probably not the life I would have chosen. Just goes to show you can't have it all your own way, no matter how dinosaur you are. The dinosaurs are all gone now. They're all dead and buried. Gone as far away as Paul. They're still buried. We're still finding bits of them lying around. Most untidy species ever. You find bits of them lying around billions of years after they supposedly die out. Litter. We love lecturing ourselves about litter. They say, don't litter. Don't put litter everywhere. But dinosaurs littering the whole fucking place, and we're still cleaning up after them. Having to put it, then we put it in museums. They say, here's some litter. Here's some crap that the dinosaurs left behind, but we're going to treat it as if it's something fantastic to be displayed in a museum. And we'll bring, no wonder the kids are confused. We'll tell them, don't drop litter, but now come in and look at this stuff that one of the previous great civilizations didn't bother to clean up after itself. And we spent thousands of euros, tens of thousands of man hours trying to dig it up without damaging it from underground somewhere. We had to stop building a motorway just so we could dig up the dinosaur bones that we found under it. Come and have a look at it, kids. We'll just put it behind glass so you don't damage the dinosaur litter. No, and absolutely fucking ridiculous. That's what absolutely fucking ridiculous. Christ. I can't finish this sentence because the belching keeps getting in the way, and I can't think of a way to finish it without it sounding stupid. We finish with a song, that's what we'll do. I know what you're thinking there. You're thinking, Christ, this sounds like one of the less gooder episodes, or as those of us who can speak properly say, one of the less good episodes. Well, you might be right about that, or you might not, because it's not finished yet. Do me a fucking favour and not judge me until I finished it. I'll probably put in more stuff and stick it in that you haven't heard in the part that you've just listened to. There's going to be extra stuff by the time you get to this. Edit it in the middle, and you've missed it now because you're prejudging. So stop with that crap. I'm going to go back right now and stick some extra stuff in the middle, and it'll be like when you make a curry and you realise it's not enough stuff in it. It needs a bit more of this and a bit more of that. You can completely change a curry or any one pot meal. You can completely change it just by going back and adding some ingredients and adding a bit more water or tweaking things and doing all sorts of things. And that's what I'm going to be doing with this. And by the time we get to this part here, you'll be going, I didn't even notice it was a substandard episode. What's he talking about? Well, exactly my point. So shut your stupid ugly face and let's get on with it.
You've been listening to Neal tell you stories about cats, probably. Neal talks a lot about cats. Send your topic suggestions to studio@intoyourhead.com.
Into your head.